So I got this thing pretty cleaned up. Seems like looks better. There's some scratches and stuff on the one side, but like there's not a lot I can do about it. We do 0, 3, 8, 5,
3. Yeah. I guess the idea was to, have the corner frequency below the second harmonic of the highest frequency on 40 for the 40 meter trap, 40 meter network, right?
I don't know. I played around with this thing for 3 days on the bench. I've measured this thing and wound probably a dozen toroids, taking turns off, adding turns, screwing around with it. But what I've noticed is it's definitely a low pass. I don't ever see any low frequency ever being attenuated, which may be by design, but I
don't know how to adjust that.
And I don't really get much matching. Like, one thing I did was I put a 100 ohm non-inductive resistor on the output of the board, and then put the analyzer into it, and the radio both, which is an analyzer. It shows 2 to 1 with the relays on the hook, because you can see on the schematic there's a pass through. So that's correct, 100 ohms, 2 to 1. When I click the relay, you can only adjust it to a minimum of 2 to 1. There isn't any combination of the trimmers that make it better than the 2 to 1.
I don't know if there's a DNR.
Any additive capacitance on C1 or C2, or they call it A and B, adds to the SWR. There is never a dip.
Noise blanker.
I find that interesting. But normally this thing is designed for 50 ohms in and 50 ohms out. Is that correct?
No, it's designed for whatever the heck you're putting it into. I just gave you a screenshot. If you look up W7DS, you'll see the full instructions, because they're still out there. But I just sent you a screenshot of the 50 ohm chart. So this tube is 50 ohms. We know that it's not actually 50, right? It's 50 with 30. They say 33 to 35 puff of cap on it, and then of course it's a cathode, so it changes as you drive it. But it's 50 to 80 ohms, let's say, right? It's somewhere between 50 and 80 ohms, depending on how hard you're driving the thing.
Contour width. DNR
yeah,
level.
okay, and that call sign I'm supposed to look up is Whiskey 7 Delta Sierra, is that right?
Yeah, let me look it up. I'll send it to you. Go ahead, Dave. Oh, I'm just sitting here looking for its schematic. This is the I-7 up.
It does get rid of a lot. KG7
Man, it's incredibly strong now. So Brad, you finished reading all those magazines?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for some more.
What are you on, the 1200?
Yeah, I think I got to retune for a second. I'm not sure. Hold on a second. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4. Low. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what the hell's going on again. Maybe I need to check something.
Your audio's a little hot. Either back off the mic or cut it back a little bit, would you?
Oh, you know what it is? I cleaned the radio.
Now you didn't step on the pedal?
Yeah.
Yeah, the amplifier just has I sent that, Jim. The amplifier just has a ton of signal. But yeah, you're 30 plus. I got attenuator in. But yeah, I'm listening to you at 3.6. That radio he's got, Dave. I don't know if you're. I'm pretty sure you're Elecraft. He's transmitting at 4 wide. So if you can open it up.
Okay, I see what I was doing wrong.
There you go. Man, that's beautiful.
Alright, let me make sure that just, I don't like to have the amplifier out of tune. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, I saw you tuning it. 20 to 30, 20 to 30, yeah.
I wasn't paying attention and I didn't realize that I didn't have this other tuner enabled, and so I was actually using the Hot Water 101, which doesn't care, and then then the amplifier, because when I tuned the Hot Water 101, well, I was just using the Pi network to match to the antenna.
Well, it's working now. That is a really good sounding radio, man. It kind of makes me think that 3000 is really going to be a nice radio.
Yeah, we just got to find one that they don't think is worth $1,200.
You said you had one?
I did have one, yeah. Jim and Buckeye traded me one for my 7300 and some other stuff, and I got it home and I hooked everything up, and every time I would key the microphone, the fast thing on the VFO would beep and go on and off, beep and go on and off.
Oh, okay, so it had a problem.
Right, and it ended up being a really ugly deal. I was like, look, dude, this radio's screwed up. I don't want it. I'll come back down there and get my radio. Oh, no, you did that. You damaged that. So, long story short, we almost became not friends over the deal, and I said, I'll tell you what. I'll pay you for whatever you think that it's going to cost to send it to yaesu, because he was like willing to pay part of it, and I'm like, no, I'm not shipping anything. I don't ship things. And I told him, I said, nope. I said, so I'll just give you the rest of the money for it, since you think I did it, and I don't think I did, but whatever. And so I gave him like $150 and brought the radio back and took my 7300 back, and 3 days later sold my 7300 for $800. So the whole plan at the time was I just wanted to get rid of the 7300.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that yaesu is pretty cheap on repairs. I don't know. It just anytime I've ever had to send something, it's just shockingly cheap.
Well, yeah, we called and we found out, it would probably be about $140 to $150 to repair it. It's a voltage issue in the thing. They say that it happens when you swap the microphone while the radio is on, and you might like accidentally cross some of the pins or something, which would typically happen on a radio like this, not on a phone jack Ethernet.
No, I'm telling you, man. You've heard me say that over and over. Never ever swap the microphone with the radio on. Just don't do it. We were talking about this a couple of months ago, and the guy's like, that's BS. I do it all the time. It's like, well, okay, you're playing roulette.
Yeah, it's not an issue on ICOMs, but it is an issue on yaesus, and so anyway, I don't do it on any of them at all. I turn them off, and people are like, well, why do you do that? Because I don't want to mail anything out, no matter what. So, anyway, I used that radio for about a day or two, and I thought it sounded really good, and I talked to Lee and a couple of other people on it, and they thought it sounded really good, so I know they sound good.
Yeah, the thing is that the ICOMs still have the voltage on the pin. I don't know. It's just not a good idea. This thing, this 7800, this thing gets shut off before I even touch it. I'm not playing around. I know better.
Right, and they do have voltage on the ICOMs too because they use condenser mics, and there's also a lot of times there's voltage in the center pin that is just there in case. So if you use something like a desk microphone that has a preamp, the voltage is available in there on an ICOM as well.
Yep, I'm using this ICOM hand mic that Dave brought me.
Dave's such a nice guy.
Did I tell you I was using that? Does it sound okay, Dave?
Oh yeah, I still think you sound better than you've ever sounded.
my little hand mic. He's such a little guy.
Sounded built pretty tough, though.
Hey Dave, did you get the Craigslist ad I sent you of the Drakes?
No, you said he called me?
I texted him to your phone number.
No, I don't remember seeing anything about Drake on there, but that does not mean you didn't do it.
They were like in Albuquerque or something. They were like in the blue and all that, you know. I think they were TR4s, but they were I think they were like reasonably priced. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I got it right here. It says now the posting's expired. I can't see it, but that's okay. If I remember correctly, they were charging about $100 more than what I've paid for a set of twins.
What did you pay?
The going price is about $500.
Yeah, I think that these were like 600 or something, maybe.
Yeah, about $100 more than normal, probably. I mean, it depends on, you know, have they done a cap update on the power supply? If they did that, well, it's worth an extra $100.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they said they did that. They had obviously really nice LEDs in it, or else the blue filters are just really good.
Oh, well, that adds to it, too. I've got some of the LED light bulbs. They replaced the old-fashioned bayonet with LED ones with a little diffuse thing on it, and they're blue. They look really nice. So, and somebody years and years and years ago, I think I was hosting the Collins and the Heathkit lift servers for a long time out of Tempe, and one of the Heathkit guys really enjoyed it. So he sent me a couple of Heathkit cups, and there was some Drake people, because there was a boat anchor one too. A Drake guy sent me at first I thought it was just his QSL cards, but it was two of his QSL cards taped together, and in between them was a whole bunch of blue filters. It was really cool.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Hey, there's a 7800 on Craigslist if you want one too. I thought it was a decent price at $3,500.
Well, I saw that. I mean, that's good. It said original owner, right?
Yeah, he said it only has like about 25 hours on it, and you know, he said he was like somewhere in California, not too far from here, I think.
Wow, that's not bad.
You know, I don't know. I'm finding out the more that I learn about this radio is that again, they made the radio for 10 years. So, you know, is it year 1 or year 10? That it's a big deal.
Well, I sent you the link to the ad, so I think he stated when he bought it, which I don't think it was a real long time ago from when I read the ad, but it's such a nice looking radio.
Yeah, I think at that point I would just get a 101 MP. I mean, you're about the same price now.
Well, I know. What would you want with two of them? You know, but I mean, like somebody else might want one. I mean, it's still a $10,000 radio. It was new. You know, a 101 isn't anywhere near $10,000 new.
No, but it's got a better receiver, faster scope, newer technology. It's just newer. You know, they're able to manufacture stuff so cheap now. It's just unreal. You know, it's just I don't know. The only thing about this thing that really worries me is repairing it. But you know, whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. I opened the bottom of this thing and looked in it to see if it had the audio filter TFF or whatever the hell scope and then the memory thing, and I looked at it and I said, man, if something goes wrong on here, you know they're not going to fix it. They just put another board in the damn thing.
This one they actually repaired. I got the service report and the invoice. What happened to this one was the guy had two of these, and he evidently keyed up the other one or this transmitter while the second receiver was on, and he blew it out. See, he had multiple antennas out there. He had a big 80-meter vertical, or maybe even a 160 vertical, I think. You know, dipoles and towers and everything. So I think he got into a situation where he keyed something up while the second receiver was on, and it blew it out. But the repair order said he replaced such and such op amp, replaced this op amp, replaced this op amp, replaced these transistors. Radios repaired, you know, and it just went down the line of what they did. So I thought, wow, that's kind of neat that they actually replaced the components.
It's pretty crazy, actually, really. I mean, because it's going to be surface mount stuff, and that's a lot of stuff to replace.
I think that technician has probably done that job hundreds of times. And when the radio came in and he plugged it in and realized the second receiver was blown, he was like, all right, I know what I need to do.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's going to do the same thing every time everybody does the same thing.
Yeah, because there's two receivers in this, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to blow the other one out.
So you have to have it set a certain way to mute the other receiver?
Well, the way it works is on the back panel there's each receiver input, and you have to enable the receiver. Like when I first got the thing, I thought it was broken, and then I had to get the manual out, and I realized that it won't even work. The receivers have BNC jacks on the back of the radio. If you want the receiver to work internally, then you have to have jumpers. So I had some BNC cables that I put, and then later I ordered real short jumpers so I'd have less loss. But you have to have BNC jumpers from each receiver back into the radio. And you have to be careful. I mean, this is true with all radios with dual receivers. Like right now, I have it set to where I'm listening to 3870 AM. I have the volume down, but I'm watching them on the scope, the AM guys. And when no one's talking, I'll roll it up and see what they're saying. But I have it set to where if I key up, it mutes the second receiver. But if you were to push the other button and have both of them online, well, then it would feed back. You know, I don't think it would blow it up. However, if you had the left receiver, let's say on a dipole, and then the right receiver on a vertical in the backyard in the near field, if you keyed up, I think he would blow it out immediately.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Now, why did they put the jumpers on there? What did they want you to do with them? Feed them to something else?
Yeah, it gives you the opportunity to route the receivers to whatever you want to route them to. So the initial thing would be like you could put a receiver guard. You know, like you could make one, or DX Engineering makes them the receiver guard. You put that in line, and then that's going to stop that from happening. There's a diode in there that conducts, and there's a resistor and a little lamp that bleeds off the RF, and it protects the front end. So you could put that there. You could also put a bandpass filter. You could put a pre-selector or a bandpass filter. You know, you guys have probably seen these when you're looking at the DX Engineering catalog. They have those bandpass filters, so those would install on those lines, and that'll give you the opportunity to run multiple radios within the same shack on different antennas. So, you know, the one could be on 80 meters, the other one could be on 20, and you could be running 1500 on both. And you know, you're not gonna hear it bleed over. So if you had a couple guys in here running a contest station or something, you know, there's a lot of different things. I mean, also you could just put a splitter there, Bram, and then have it go to the computer to the SDR radio. So now you got three. You got a big band scope and both receivers. So there's a lot of different reasons why you would want those jumpers.
That reminds me, I got to hook up the U-tune. What do you think? Is it going to be an IF frequency or just a completely like straight path to the antenna?
No, that's an IF. Yeah. The U-tune is the IF of the radio. I don't know. You'll have to look up online and figure out what the IF frequency is. But I suspect it's going to be 69 megahertz. The 2000 is 69 point something. I don't remember.
And then you got to sit there and like dial it in exactly until it comes across your thing, right? So it's not exactly perfect, right? You're not just going to put in 69 and be like, oh, look.
Well, it's not that difficult. You're going to have to, you're going to have to align the SDR radio to it. But I mean, depending on which software you use, it's pretty easy. Some of the software that I use, it'll do it automatically for you. It's listening to WWV and it'll do it for you. But if not, then you can just put it on lower sideband. You know, key up another radio, make it ring, and then just keep adjusting it. You know, 69 point whatever, and then just start changing it until it's zero beated.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that later. I have an old RTL that works. You know, I used it before on the Kenwood 570. It was a real pain to get it to work, though. It was like kind of difficult. I don't remember what the reason was why. I was using HD SDR, and then I also used SDR Sharp, and then I used I don't remember what the other one was. But I had a lot of trouble getting it to finally work, and I think also part of it was I was tapping the IF of the radio, and I don't think the output was really strong enough.
I'll be right back. I'll run down the hall.
KG7HR. Boy, I can't wait till tomorrow. I'll get my staples out.
Oh, that's good. What, were you on a centerfold?
Yeah, an appendix centerfold.
Yeah, I remember just teasing. So you doing all right with that?
They hurt. They don't feel good, and you know, like when I'm driving and stuff, they kind of, you know, they sort of give me kind of like stomach pain a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it looks like I'm healing up pretty good, I guess.
Well, not bad. 100 years ago, you probably would have died. Well, 150 years ago, you definitely would have died from it. So there you go.
Do you think that was a common problem back then? Like, I mean, you know, I never read about it in history, but then again, I mean, lots of things don't get reported in history.
Oh, an awful lot of people died from toothache. They'd get an infection in their mouth, and that'd be it. I mean, the average, if you made it to 40 years old, back in the late 1800s, you were old guy.
That's kind of what I thought. You know, it seemed like, you know, as you would, they taught history and stuff like that. It seemed like, you know, you'd read, you know, social studies and U.S. history and all the other types of history, and you would realize these people were dying pretty early. You know, 45 was like average.
You had diseases and all kinds of stuff. You had a lot of things that nobody even knew what it was. What was it? Dyslexia. No, it's not dyslexia. The one where you think you're fat and you anorexia. Karen Carpenter died of that. They didn't know what it was until after she died. So it's not been that long ago.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They were. I was watching this show. You know, it's all kind of like different opinions about history, but they were saying that we always make the assumption that we're an advanced civilization, but that like we ignore the fact that we might have been an advanced civilization a long time ago, and then this like biblical flood happened that reduced us to like almost, you know, primates again, and then we had to start from scratch. I almost wonder if that's true sometimes.
Yeah, but on that previous lifetime, we were all reptilians.
Well, there's certainly some theories to that. I know that, but I watch this thing on YouTube. I get sucked into it all the time. It's called the Y-Files. Even Clark watches it every once in a while, and he's a really good like spokesperson type of person, and you know narrates, and then you think he's going to side one way or the other, and then he actually at the end he kind of like discredits what you think he's going to say the deal is. So it's kind of fun to watch.
Well, we know we have certain people today that are geniuses, you know, and they usually have them locked up somewhere thinking about the things that will do us good. But I think geniuses happen back in the, you know, at just about any time in life. There was probably even some geniuses back in the Stone Age. Can you imagine being a genius back then and having people grunting at you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing. The one thing I was watching, they were talking about how like they had this theory that you know the aliens like had come down here and they were using people as their like slaves to do all their work for them and stuff, and they kind of modified their genes so they could be a little more productive. And then the theory was that the people started to get too damn smart and they started to live too long, and then they went in and changed stuff. And it kind of reflects on what they were talking about in the Bible, but I was just thinking about that too.
Well, one of my favorite sayings is that I believe in evolution. I do not believe everyone's participating.
Well, that's definitely obvious. So you look around and it's like, I think we are going backwards.
Well, you know, it helps when you see that, because at least you recognize it. So that means you're going forward.
No, I think we're headed to going backwards a little further before we make any kind of progress, you know. And hopefully we will make progress. Hopefully it won't end up being something bad, but, you know. I just believe that, like, I think that the kids nowadays can't do the things that people my age or your guys' age or older people, you know. I just don't think that they know how to do it because they just gotten so reliant upon, you know, just different stuff, you know, where they can't even fix anything, you know.
Alright, I'm back. I don't know, you know, I don't know how those U-tune units work. I just Googled it and I was looking at the manual, Bram. I'm not sure if they operate on the first IF or if they're just in series with the antenna. I mean, I really don't know.
Well, I'll try and get it fired up like later or tomorrow morning, and I've got the it's all set up. I've got the adapter, and I actually have an RCA on the RTL. I don't have an adapter to run the SDR Play. Otherwise, I would just use that, so I'd have to make one. That'd probably be the easiest way because SDR Play just runs.
Do you still have that screenshot you sent me? Does he give you any information in that?
He does not. I read that same statement 2 different places in EHAM, so I got to go try and find the other one where it was maybe a little more information.
Well, I'll just look it up and see if all of a sudden if the SDR hears everything, or if it hears the band you're on, or if there's nothing, then scroll the SDR up to 640 to 69 megahertz and see if there's a big signal there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is a cool radio, but a scope would be really nice. I really would like that very much. But I don't mind it. You know, like, if I compare this to, like, something like the TS940, you know, this is quite a radio.
Yeah, sounds better.
What are you using?
I had it in the house sitting on top of the 940. I had no idea that, you know, this is a big radio, really, Clark. It's only like an inch or so shorter.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I heard you both.
What do you think, Jim?
Well, I'm just looking at the values. What kind of cores did you use with those?
The ones in the chart. So on 40, I'm using a T68-2, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't realize I was still recording.
Yeah, I can kind of duplicate those values with, one of the things that I downloaded from Far Circus was a spreadsheet that had inductance values on them, and I came pretty close to the inductance values. And your original design was to go 50 ohms to 50 ohms, right?
Yeah, it's not actually 50 to 50 though. It's 50 to 50 to 80. I mean, depending on what band and drive level. But yeah, 50 ohms to 50 ohms. And I'm using the W7DS 50 ohm chart. So, like for example, on the 40 meters, I've got 13 turns of 20 gauge on a T68-2, and I've got 2 550 puff trimmers, which would cover you.